Do you still know how to do it?
Do we need to have a whoa off?
Sure, why not? Do it. Let's see.
Whoa.
Hey!
Good.
That's great. You're
Pretty
absolutely right.
good.
Because I would be like, whoa.
Yeah.
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 One of my favorite.
Whoa.
That's
I
good.
can't really do it.
No, that's good.
Because yours goes
Whoa.
down at the end.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's- Yo, happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Welcome back to the Brotherly Love Pod.
Hello, the pod to pod.
The pod to pod. All right,
Oh,
listen,
yes.
we could do intros and
Oh,
talk about our
yes.
feelings for 5 minutes like we always do and tell everybody what's going on. But we're not doing that because we have somebody special in the house with us today.
We are doing that.
We are doing that, but we didn't do that. See, we did it, but we didn't actually do it because we have to get to something very exciting. A very near, dear friend to me, somebody that has significance, obviously, in my past, is joining us today. A very beloved friend and actor and someone who I think everybody knows, that knows me anyway. And that is Jenna Von Oÿ is with us today, everybody, who played Six on Blossom. Throwback
cool.
Friday, dude, right?
Wow.
Flashback Friday. Crazy. Hi, Jenna. How you doing?
Hi, Joey.
Oh, my gosh. Look
And
at
I don't
you.
think I've seen either of you in so many years that I like you're adults and it's weird. It's like a time warp for me.
What is happening?
Yeah, it's really
right?
been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Do you remember when these guys were each on the show? Remember they played my character at different ages, right? So, my God, I mean, Andy played what? Andy, you played me as like a 4-year-old, right? Like
Night of Reckoning, 94. I was little Joey. That was in the episode
Was it
title. Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, my God.
I remember everything.
Wow.
weird.
I was
That is-
3.5.
Wow. He remembers the
Yeah.
episode. Matt, do you remember the episode that you played me on?
I don't remember the title. of it.
Horrible, brother. Horrible.
I remember being on the show, though, for sure.
Okay, I did Google it right before this. That's why. I didn't really remember
I was
that.
thinking that's
I
like
had to
Rain
come
Man.
clean.
Well,
Had
to be
come
fair,
clean.
I don't remember half the episodes we did, and
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
feel
You
like
guys
I was
did a ton
pretty
of
damn
them.
present. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
it just
either.
happens.
I don't either. What I remember more is I remember you chopping up bananas into orange juice in
I did
bowls.
that, yes.
Remember
Yep.
that? She made
That
banana.
happened.
Yeah, she would walk around. She'd go to craft service,
Wow.
and I was, for the first few years, I was binging on the donuts and the bagels. This is before like physical fitness sort of crept into my brain. I was like, man, I gotta try to work out.
Before you watched Cliffhanger 37 times
Absolutely.
and then realized.
Yeah, I saw Stallone and Pitt and was like, I gotta start working out. But yeah, and we would do the bagels with cream cheese. Remember? Bagels with cream
Mhm.
Oh,
cheese.
yeah. Those
Oh,
craft
yeah.
services.
And I
it's
would drink
dangerous.
copious amounts of coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing
Dangerous.
has changed on that front, for the record.
I love coffee.
I just started drinking coffee, which is really
Really?
Matt's a
yeah,
late
in
bloomer.
my 40s.
He's a bit
Like,
of a
did
late
your
bloomer.
whole world did your whole universe open up in front of you?
Kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, you know? It's
Uh-oh.
like a hate-love relationship with coffee because I love it, but I hate it.
Yes. It's like Willy Wonka. It's like as soon as you drink coffee.
It gives me like a real like jittery
Yeah.
energy.
If
That's
Matt-
why.
You remember
Matt
on Wizard of
wasn't
Oz?
insane enough. Add a little caffeine to the mix.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very
Why do you
sensitive.
think my character talked so damn fast?
Oh, of course.
No way.
Yeah.
People
The secret
yeah,
still
there it is.
People still ask me about that today. How the hell did Jenna talk that fast? We go to the table reads, guys. And
Sure.
this is what made the show work is because Jenna and Mayim and I, who were all like, underage, right? We were not
That's right.
adults. Came to the table reads and we're all from the same school, and we talk about this all the time, but like we were on our game. Nobody took a
Yeah.
table read off because we knew
Right.
it was the network listening
Yeah.
and notes got, lines were cut, man. If they didn't work, they were out. And
I
it was
know.
it was like within hours they rewrote, and those jokes that you had were not made better. They were just removed because you didn't nail them. So we talk about work ethic and young people today and all these things, but Jenna
Well,
would come.
I'm always surprised by when I go to table reads and it's considered like, a first read.
No,
and
people
I'm
are-
there and I'm like,
yeah,
I've
just,
got no, because
Right.
we were taught that table read is actually the first impression you're going to get on these jokes, on this storyline. And so you got to really you got to
Absolutely.
give it something. You got to come in there and at least give it some flair or something.
Jenna and I and Mayim always crushed at the table
Yeah.
reads, but Jenna, I mean, she had these speeches.
No,
so
I
we
remember.
would, and we would wrap the show,
I remember that.
and then you'd have to prepare the next script for the next day. Some of the times, or if we shot on Friday, you had a weekend. But it was like, man, she had these lines. Blossom, do you? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was literally.
Yeah, I remember.
I still to this day,
Yeah.
how she not only did it
No.
when she was able to read it, but then to memorize those lines.
Yep.
And she never messed up ever.
No, I would
You know
definitely.
what's-
Ever. You
You know
never
what's
messed
funny
up,
is
Jenna. Ever.
I think that I kind of had, and I cannot say the same thing now at all, but I think when I was younger, I had semi-photographic memory. Because if you look really closely at an episode, you can probably see my eyes. I'm like reading it in my head on the script page.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm gonna put you in a category with Busta Rhymes.
Yes.
You guys are in a category all of your own.
Sure, that's a first for me.
You are the actor of like rap. That's I mean, if anybody could do it, it would be you.
No, I'm not kidding.
Because the way that he raps is
It's
you're right.
exactly-
Busta Rhymes is it's how
and
the
he says the same thing, by the way. He
Right.
says like because he'll just go out there and do that every
Right.
night for all these different songs. And he's like, I think I have a photographic memory because like I would write down my raps and then I would just
be able to
just
remember
have 'em.
Just
Just
remember.
have 'em
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. No, you were amazing. You know, it's
Thank
it's so neat to see, and it really happened to both of us where, you know, we were not the title characters of the show, right?
Mhm.
But even though you have Seinfeld, right? I mean, and Jerry Seinfeld's talked about this all the time. He's like, you know, I would have without you know, Kramer and George. I mean, what you need those
course. Of course.
those wing people. You have to have them, and you're
It's
only
like
as
the
good as the support
assist in
system.
soccer, you know? Like, the
100%.
assist is almost as important as the goal because otherwise it doesn't get there.
100%.
That it's
Matter of fact, if
absolutely-
that pass is not set up, you're not scoring that goal.
Hey,
look at
Oh,
you see that?
look at little us.
Look at that.
Wow. So cool.
You have the same amount of
Classic.
hair, and I have a
I
third of
do,
it.
yeah.
I have the third of
Right.
it. Yeah, it's
Few
perfect.
things have changed.
Yeah,
Wow. Look at that,
Isn't it-
guys.
it's
Very
incredible,
cool.
right? No, we
That
had
is really
how much
cool.
fun did we have on that show? We had a good time, right?
We really did. Yeah, I think all of the inside jokes were what I remember most.
Yes.
You know, all the clothespins on each other's backs and
Okay,
seeing if you can get somebody to walk out on camera with one on without realizing it.
that's
Heck
right.
yeah.
Do you remember when Michael Stoyanov, who played Anthony Russo, which was my older brother on the show, do you remember when he would be the king of the clothespins, right? You'd take these clothespins, which you'd put film over the lights, old school, to create different colors.
Also known
right?
as C-47s.
See, yeah, I don't even remember that. So so anyway, and
Whatever.
you would take these
Keep it in.
old-fashioned clothespins and you would use them for the cellophane over the lights to create different backgrounds for like
I mean, they
sets
still
and things.
do it. It's
They
just
do, but not as
considered
much.
an old,
Anyway,
old school technique.
Michael Stoyanov would be the king of it, and we would play these games, like Jenna was saying, where we put these clips right on all of us,
Clothespins.
right?
Yeah,
And
wooden
sometimes
clothespins.
you'd attach messages to them,
Oh,
Also
yeah.
known as
Cards on-
C-47.
right? But you remember the one that Michael would always have you and I laughing, where he'd put it right here. He'd put it on this little
on the
piece
bridge
of
of his
skin
nose.
On
on the bridge of his nose, and he'd come up to
Yeah.
you, and you knew it was this thing. He'd be like, "Hey, Jenna, listen, I got a question about the scene," and he'd want you to go, "Michael, what? No, what is this?" And he'd go, "What? This?" And he would literally find it and go cross-eyed and go, "All right, who's the wise guy?
Nice.
Who's the wise guy that put this on?" Like, you wouldn't know that one because the whole thing was to put them on so you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So you'd clasp them to your back, to your
Yeah.
pieces of clothing, whatever it was. But the one, right? And we laughed for hours about that, didn't
Yeah. We also had a different sense of humor than I would imagine do now. I don't somehow think it would be quite as funny now. But
I know, for some
but yeah,
reason, I still think
but
it's funny.
Michael-
I think something's wrong
to
with
be
it.
fair, Michael is hilarious. Wait, what did you say?
I said, I still think it's just as funny. Something's wrong with
Yeah,
it.
I can tell. You're in a world of your own right there, Joe. Because
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
laughing, your eyes are lighting
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but what about the
just
dancing?
talking about it.
What about your dancing? Come on.
The dancing. There was so
Yes.
much dancing.
There
To be fair,
was.
there was a lot of dancing on your end too.
I was always dancing. I'm
Twirling.
still
A lot
always
of,
dancing.
a lot of
Somehow
rapping
I
and
can
singing and
totally
dancing.
imagine.
I see Joe twirling, just a lot of twirling
Yeah.
around.
We were dancing.
And a lot of hair, a lot of hair, a lot of time in the mirror fixing the hair.
Oh yes.
I had
Yeah.
a lot of hair.
Yeah.
I didn't actually like that hair. You know that, right? I mean, I didn't love that I didn't
know
love that I
no.
had to have long hair, right? But it became so synonymous with the character that nobody wanted me to cut the hair. The network didn't want me to cut the hair. Nobody wanted me to cut the hair. So I didn't cut it, but I actually
I remember you lost. Is this correct? I think you lost out on roles because they wanted you to cut your hair
I did.
for the role,
I
and then
did.
you were like, "I can't cut it." Disney
did.
or
I
ABC
did.
or NBC
I
won't let
actually-
me do it.
I actually got a big
Wow.
movie. I got a big movie while we were filming this. And it'll remain nameless because somebody else went on to do it and did a great job. But I had to have a buzz cut in the movie, and NBC refused
Yeah.
to let me cut my hair because we were going back to shoot.
That's what I remember.
And I lost out in the role.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was a real nightmare thing. Lawsuits and all this kind of stuff. But it worked out.
Oh,
But
jeez.
I was never a big fan of that hair.
Worked out.
Look at that. We almost have the same
Oh,
color hair.
wow.
It's kind of amazing.
I know you do. You look like a family for sure.
Yeah. Right? Can you believe
Yeah.
Can you believe that that's going on 30 years ago? It's so crazy. It's so crazy to think just how much has changed just in the last 30 years. You know, you think about when we were growing up, right?
Oh.
You think about us as teenagers on Blossom. I mean, like, you know, there was no social media. We were able to just, you know, we had to read fan letters and stuff, right? We were still getting
Yeah, they would deliver bags of
Bags.
handwritten fan letters
Wow.
Yeah.
to our dressing rooms.
I remember
that?
that.
Yeah.
I remember
Huge
that.
mail bags.
And mail
Uh-huh.
crates, like those big crates. Those
boxes
mail
in the bags.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yes, right? It's incredible, right? Do you remember when you started to go outside and people would like recognize you? Because it wasn't instantaneous. Like we became a hit, but there was always a delay because there was no, like I said, there was no instant access to the success. So
Right.
you didn't feel
Yeah, it was
like,
definitely more gradual. Well, also because when we started, we were a mid-season. Were we the mid-season replacement after the pilot didn't get picked up and then it revamped? I think.
correct.
So,
we shot a
yeah,
pilot.
really gradual filtering of that. Although I have to be honest, I don't really remember at what point it became.
I don't
thing.
either. I don't either. I just know
Wait,
that all
you
of a
guys
sudden
shot a pilot and
everybody knew who we were.
You guys shot a
you know,
pilot and it didn't get picked up?
we shot a pilot, and
Yep.
the pilot was a much different show. There
Hmm.
were two parents. They were completely different parents. Ted Wass was not in the show. You remember that? And
Hmm.
Really?
yes. And they had to retool. And they thought, you know what? It didn't. I mean, it worked, but I guess it was just. It didn't have enough. It wasn't different enough. Okay, it felt more like Growing Pains or more like these other shows that were out there with the family and the friend and the lead girl. That was the same. But you know, I was in it. Jenna was in it. But then they said we need to switch it up. So then they said we need to be a little edgier and a little bit more like hip and cool. So they decided to have a divorced family. The mother left the family. She abandoned the family, which had never.
Which was such a huge thing
Yeah,
during
for
that
sure.
time to,
No
to
one
have
lo-
that.
Right.
You know,
I mean, you had seen fathers typically like, my dad left me, but you'd
Right.
never seen the mother just
No,
say, you
yeah.
know what, I don't want to be a mom. And she left and followed her music career and went to Europe and literally abandoned the family to the point where she cut us off. And it was now a single father home. He was a piano player. He was he was a musician.
yeah, he's a musician.
And he
Mhm.
was supporting his children after his wife left him. That's it. And they found Ted Wass, who fit the bill perfectly
Yeah.
for that. He brought this. He was still such a youthful guy, and they needed somebody youthful. The guy who originally played the father was more of like a classic, like dad. You know, he was great, but he was just. Ted was this hip, good-looking, long hair with an earring.
Yeah.
It was
Make-
much
I get it.
hipper,
Yeah.
and the stakes were high because he was on his own. He had no support system, and now everybody was, you know, and Six, I mean, came in and brought comedic relief. I mean, you brought every time she walked through the door, right? And one of the, I'll never forget the line because literally one of her first lines. Well, there she is. One of her first lines
There
ever.
it is.
There
There's
she
that.
is. Look at Jenna.
In
Oh
all of my teenage angst. There I
Oh,
am.
Yeah, right
Yes.
there.
I think you
Yay.
handled it
summed
well.
up in
I think
one
you handled it
picture.
well, Jenna. But and she came in and they were like, you know, remember that line where I'm not going to do it for you because I will ruin it. But they asked her how she got her name, Six, right?
Mm.
what
And my
the
line was, my father said that's how many beers it took.
That's how she got her. That's how they named her Six.
That's funny.
Yes.
That's great.
Now
man.
this is
That's
groundbreaking.
really funny.
You did not see this prime time.
That is really
No,
funny.
I
8
know.
o'clock family programming
That's really
for
good.
a 13-year-old to come in and say that line.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's clever. That is
Dude,
really good.
So the audience,
Yeah.
not only was it a gas, it went
Yeah.
from a gas to a literal laugh spread of like a minute and a half, you know?
Pretty
But
crazy.
these were the kind of jokes that were
Wow.
entrusted to Six and to Joey Russo. This is the kind of stuff that we were given as young people.
Amazing.
And no one had ever heard lines like that in an 8
Amazing.
o'clock time slot.
Did you guys reshoot the pilot, or did the pilot just go away and you started just? What happened?
I,
How did
thi-
that-
I think we reshot it, didn't we?
We did.
Wow.
We did. We reshot
Yeah.
it and we premiered as a mid-season replacement after Cosby, right?
How about that?
That's how they launched us.
Oh my
Mhm.
How about
goodness.
that?
And then
That's
later,
cool.
and then later we were after Fresh Prince.
That's right.
Remember
And
that.
it
right.
became kind of like a whole lineup of
It did.
Yep.
Remember the Fresh Prince Blossom Hour? Remember?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that became
What an hour for
Oh,
TV.
I know, right?
Holy
Wow,
cow.
What a great.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I wish I could sit
we
down
were
and watch
averaging.
an hour
You know
of
what's
television like that.
crazy is that back in the day, like if you think about this, like
Oh.
we were averaging like 27, 28 million people
I know.
watching the show.
Wow.
Like,
It's crazy.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, it is. And it's a long time ago, but like not that long ago.
No.
Actually, you feel like 30 years is a big spread, but when you live the 30 years, you realize
Yeah.
30 years is a blink of an eye. It's actually nothing.
So quick. Yeah.
Like it's so fast,
but
actually.
so
Yeah.
much has changed.
But the
It's slow.
evolution of television that's happened in that
Oh my
time
gosh.
is
Oh my gosh.
absurd.
It's
it is-
crazy. It's totally changed completely.
Yeah.
I say this all the time because how many kids do you have?
2.
You have
Two
two
daughters.
kids.
Ew.
How old?
11 and 8. Well,
11.
the 8-year-old will be 9 in like 2 weeks, but yeah.
So 11
Cool.
and 8. Wow. Okay. So, I have 17, 13, and 9 months, right?
I still
So-
can't believe you have a 17-year-old. I realize I started a little on the later side, but God, that's just, it's so weird to me because in my eyes, we're still that age. You know?
I know. I'm still watching you walk around with your bananas and orange juice. And I would
Listening
be
to
like,
Boys
I'll
to
never
Men,
forget
I
it.
imagine.
What?
Listening to Boys to Men.
Of
wearing
course.
red jeans
Oh, yeah.
and flannels. And
Laughing at closed
To
pins.
the end of the road, till I can't let go.
Yep.
Jenna,
We would
by the way,
Oh.
Jenna,
All
by the
day.
way, can sing her ass
Every
off.
day, all day.
Do you remember Jenna can sing her
Yeah,
ass
I
off?
do remember that.
Oh yeah, she's got a
actually.
great voice.
Yep.
We would always sing because you know what? Mayim can sing. Yes, we'd be blasting Boys to Men. Remember
course.
Color Me Bad?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, tick tock,
Absolutely.
you don't stop.
You know, there's
Oh,
like 90s, there's like a 90s music tour that's going right now, I think.
Really?
And it's Color Me Bad. And
Oh, yeah.
I think Boys to Men might have even done it, but All for One, because I'm still
All for
close to the
One.
guys in All for One.
That's
So
right.
one of the guys in All for One is married to my sister.
Oh, cool.
So
What?
so I keep track
Really?
of what they're up to.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I loved All for One. Oh my God, they had great songs too.
I know.
There were so many great songs. I mean, we were so lucky because we often say this.
Maybe this tour needs audience warm up, guys.
Yes,
Could be us.
could be us.
MCs. Yeah.
MCs. Hey everybody, hey, how's
Have
everybody
your
feeling?
people call their people.
Everybody feeling 90s? Hey, all right, the 90s. No, but I remember one time just going back to the bananas and orange juice. I went up to her. I said,
Oh,
"Is this
jeez.
good?" She was like, "You'd be surprised." And you gave me a taste. You know what? Bananas and orange juice is shockingly
Is
good.
it good?
Yes. Have you had that? Do you still ever? Have you
can't
passed it on to
say-
your kids?
I can't say that that's a staple for me
Yeah.
anymore.
You didn't pass it on to your kids and go, "Kids, Mom used to do something when I was your age." You didn't have that conversation.
Have you guys
yet?
ever had avocado, crushed ice, and milk?
What?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
we make
right?
avocado. Actually, we make avocado banana smoothies here all
there
the time.
You
They're
go.
so
There
good.
you go. Okay.
I put avocado on everything, but I've never had it with milk.
Yeah, and then like yeah, it's like an island thing. Like, anyway, I've had it. It's really good.
Do you
You
make
would
it
never
sweet?
think it's like a breakfast. Yeah, they kind of make it sweet, put honey in it and stuff, but it's like a breakfast thing, and it's actually
Whoa.
really, really good.
Really?
Surprised, yeah. Very good. I really enjoyed it.
Interesting.
You would never think it, but
No,
then I had it and I was like, oh, this is actually because the avocado, it takes on a creamy,
it does.
real creamy kind of sensation.
This is
Avocado
where the
is-
mom in me is going to say that's why you should always try things before you decide whether or not you like them.
Yes, it's so true. So true.
Isn't it amazing how when kids are young, they'll eat anything, right? You put anything. In
Really?
front of them. Oh yeah. Like
Not me.
when they're babies. No, when they're babies.
Oh,
I'm talking like
I don't really
for
remember
instance,
when
Okay, I was going to say, I think I had a fairly discerning palate. Thank you very much.
yes.
No, I'm telling you, no, but
Me
like I'm
too.
talking like babies. So like
Okay.
I remember when Charlie and Libby were little ones, like 7, 8, 9 months. They started doing the solid foods, and Dylan, by the way, who's 9 months, is doing the same thing. Like you could put yam, avocado, broccoli, turkey, whatever it is.
All of this is delicious.
Yeah, well, I know, but then what happens is something clicks in, and all of a sudden, like you hate all that stuff, and all you want is cheese, bread. You know what I mean? Like those things.
God.
Butter
And-
pasta.
Buttered pasta, and it's amazing how the palate brings, and then you become very, like you said, very discerning, and then you don't
Yeah,
want
well, I
anything.
remember that,
I
yeah.
really
and, now,
liked-
and then you finally work your way back into it.
Mhm.
I remember, like I hated tomatoes, hated
Dude,
them,
I hated
And now-
tomatoes until just honestly
and now I love them.
recently. Like
Yeah.
within the last 6 months. I now love tomatoes. I can eat a tomato.
So maybe that whole
raw,
thing with
it's
the palate
great.
changing every 7 years is true. Well,
Well, I always
No,
love
it is
Caesar
true.
salad.
It is?
Your taste buds absolutely change every 7 years.
Wow.
That is-
Okay.
I
that is
hear-
a fact.
I've always been a Caesar guy, even since I was a young
Caesar
kid.
salad.
I really have been. I've always loved Caesar.
Do you know that we used to
Yeah.
go to New York City?
Oh, yeah,
okay?
this is great.
And
Hurlingham's?
Hurlingham's
Yeah.
at the
baby.
New York Hilton.
Yep.
Okay, so when I was a kid, we would and I got my start. By the way, where did you get your start? Where'd you get your
In New
start?
York.
New York. Okay,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
were just like me. So we would drive into the city, right? Because you lived in Connecticut, right?
I was in Connecticut. We took the train in rather than
Yeah.
driving the majority of the time because it was
Okay.
a little easier. But yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
We took the train sometimes too because we were in Philadelphia. So we drive to Trenton. 'cause
New
that was-
Jersey.
and we'd take the
Yeah.
train from Trenton into the city because it was just easier to park there than find parking in the city.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
there were
true.
some times that we would go as a family. And when we went as a family trip, and then when Andy came along and we go into the city, our thing was after an audition or whatever, our treat was before we left to go back home, right? Because it was usually school the next day or whatever, we would stop at New York Hilton. And Demetrius
Yep.
would make the best table-side Caesar salad
Unbelievable.
ever.
I
Old school.
I haven't seen a
Really?
table side
Yes.
Caesar in a
He
long
cracked
time.
the letter. I remember him putting this iceberg, this
No, it was romaine.
crisp romaine
Yeah.
into a towel,
Dude.
and he would
Yes, that's
crack
right.
it in a
Yeah,
towel
and the
then rip it
Parmesan.
and put it in there. The special Parmesan and the egg yolks,
I'd
the
say-
anchovies.
oh.
Oh my god! And Andy,
I remember this.
as literally,
It's what a memory that just brought
3-year-old
back, dude. I remember
he
this.
literally would scarf 2 plates
It was
of
so
Caesar
delicious.
salad down
Oh, yeah,
as a
it-
3-year-old.
it was
I
really
love
good.
that.
I'm a big
Yes.
Remember that
Caesar guy.
huge,
Yeah,
the huge silver
bowl.
bowl that was in ice, and he
Yes.
could
and there was
spin
and he used those
oh.
wood.
Those
oh,
wood.
my-
Oh, so
and the
good.
wood would collect all of the good
Yes.
stuff.
And then he'd
man.
scrape it off, and he'd
Yes.
like give you a little on
The
the
garlic,
side of your
the minced
plate.
garlic.
Gosh,
Oh.
I just remember walking through the streets
So
of New York,
good.
going to that place, man. That
I
was
know.
wow.
Demetrius would talk
Oh
like
my
this.
gosh.
Yeah.
I am going to make you the
And this was
very
like 30
best
years
Caesar
ago.
salad.
That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's more than that.
Oh yeah, dude.
Early 90s, like 90s.
For me, it
91.
was hot dogs at Zaro's because I would always get them at Grand Central
Yeah.
before we
Yes.
got on the train.
Yes. Oh
Yep.
my gosh. Isn't
Crazy.
that crazy? Wow.
Mm.
Did
Yeah.
you start with commercials? Is that what you started with too, or did you?
Yeah,
Because I started with
commercials and,
commercials.
like
you know?
voiceovers and
Mm-hmm.
all of that good stuff. And I mean, I even did guest spots on like old school shows like Kate and Allie. Remember that?
Wow.
It was
I do.
so long ago.
I do
remember that. Yep.
Hmm.
I
did a
did like
couple
the
of
different
films, things
strokes.
that.
I did different strokes, silver spoons. I did all those guest spots, you know,
Hmm.
and then all the
Yeah.
And but I didn't do Kate and Allie. That's crazy. How did you get? You know, actually, I don't think I've ever asked you this, but how did you get out to L.A. to audition for Blossom, or did you do it in the East Coast?
No, I auditioned in New York.
Wow.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah, I auditioned in New York, and
that's crazy. I didn't.
my
know that.
callback was in New York. And for the audition, they had asked. I had worn this wide brimmed purple hat
Okay.
because I was quirky like that. And when they called me for the callback, they said, "Oh," and they said as a side note to wear the hat. All right.
Great. That
And then it went down in history.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
It
for
did.
sure.
Yeah, and then they flew me to LA for the screen test.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. We were all out there.
You were all at the same screen
NBC
test.
No
for
way.
the
Were you
screen
really?
tests.
Wow.
We had our screen test at NBC Studios. Remember that in
Yep.
Burbank, the
Yep.
old NBC Studios, the one that
Yeah.
where all the legends were made. You
Yeah.
know, Carson and all that stuff shot there. Now it's a ghost town. I don't.
And
think
we were
anybody-
the only ones there, is the
Yep.
other thing.
That's
There were
right.
nobody else was screen testing when Joey and I screen tested.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
So to me, that sounds like they were pretty sure about you guys.
I feel
then
like
they were
that.
According
gonna
to
go.
Don, to Don Rio, they already knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it feels like when
Yeah.
they test. It's like, let's get this out of the books for the networks. We
Right.
can just sign off on the
Yep.
characters we're good with
Yep.
and start focusing on the characters we don't
Yep.
have.
Yep.
That's what it
Yeah.
sounded like.
Yep. Yep. It was.
Cool.
Those
Very
are such old school days, but they're so fun.
Oh,
they really
man.
are.
You know, I often say I'm so glad that you and I were able to experience that. You know, like the old school sort of, like the last leg of old school like world. You know, before everything really did change. Because don't you feel like
Yeah,
your parents would always tell you, like, you know what? When I was growing up, things were way different. But what's crazy is that they had a point to a certain extent, but really, actually, it was kind of the same. Like we had modern technologies and things, but it was pretty much the same. I
Sure.
mean, you went outside to play.
Fridges that got ice makers.
No, but I
and,
mean, you know, like
yeah.
we
Got
sure we might
42
have had
channels
a,
rather than 12. and,
Right.
You know,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. We still
know,
watch
that's-
TV
yeah.
the same way. We
Yeah.
consumed entertainment the same
Sure.
way. We may have had more choices, but it wasn't
Things
the way.
were speeding up on the same trajectory at which they were headed.
Right.
Somewhere along the last previously, not 60 to 90. Now, somewhere 90 to 2020.
Ludicrous speed.
Our trajectory didn't just continue to excel, it actually changed course.
And sped up.
Literally changed
Yeah,
course.
so now it's very different.
I feel like the iPhone, the smartphone 2006, and social media literally, you know.
The internet. It was a convergence of us and our technology.
They turned it upside down.
Yeah, it did. It
Upside
flipped
down.
everything upside down.
Right.
For sure.
Because, I mean, can you imagine what we experienced, right? Being, you know, when the show took off, right? And Blossom became this sensation, right? Especially with young people, right? With teens. Can you imagine what it would have been like? I mean, how popular that we were at those ages with social media? Like, what that would have felt like?
Oh, my goodness.
I don't even know. Because
Yeah,
we were,
I don't know
that
that I
show
can
was
really
huge.
fathom that, to be honest.
Me either, right? Where you would feel the pressure to come in every day to the set and not only like live stream something, but the pressure to like have to do that. Like to feel the need to be accessible. We were able to go, like for instance, we were able to roll in. We had set school early in the morning.
It was
right. We didn't care about how we looked. I mean, Jenna always looked great, but we didn't have to care about that. We knew that we were in a bubble until show night, you know, and we were
social
able to
media has kind of become a second job in a way
Yes,
for
it is.
for actors because
It is.
there's so much.
In fact, I'm starting to see it as to where these social media platforms and then your pages on these things are going to become your own network. Like you have your YouTubes, you have your social pages, you have these streaming platforms now, like Twitch and all. That's where the people under 20 are going to get their entertainment.
It's a brand. It becomes a brand rather than a job.
Exactly. And you're almost more like a vendor in the sense that you're going out to all these different sites and they're basically where you sell your content. You don't need to go to an NBC anymore. You don't need to go to, you really don't. It's like, that's where the entertainment is.
I like the old school.
I know.
I want to go back to the way it was.
Never will.
Just hire me to do something. I'll show up. I'll make you laugh. I don't want to do anything
I've got
else.
some pictures I can show you.
Yeah, that's right. I'll make you laugh. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to come up with it, create it, shoot it. I mean, just give me a line and I'll make it funny. You know? Damn it.
That's the old school.
Damn it.
For
No,
sure.
but it is.
There are some positives though that I'm seeing, and that is that you get direct access to the community that likes your content or your entertainment.
No, of course.
There's no middleman. There's no network, studio, production company that filters your work all the way before it actually gets out. So,
well, in a way, it's also like doing it in front of a live audience, right? It's that immediate gratification. So it's kind of like the live audience, just in a different forum.
I agree.
Do you go on social media a lot? Do you post a lot?
No, no, I don't. I probably should, because, you know, I've got 2 kids and 4 dogs and
I know.
so
and
many
a partridge in a pear tree.
I'm living the life rather than posting about the life.
I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
You know, I say that to my girls all the time. Well, the 2 older ones, right? Because it's always
the young one.
And the young one. I'm starting her young. No, but you know, where like
getting that philosophy.
Everything is about Dad, get in the picture. Dad, let's take. I was like, can we just here it is. Take a mental picture for a minute. Let's just because so many times like you're missing out on the moment because you're trying to capture it to either post it or edit it to do it late. Like, but you're not living in it. Like, just let's enjoy the moment. You know, like especially like when you go to Disneyland or something. Like, I don't need to be filming it. I just want to be there and enjoy it. Like, we know what it looks like. You know what I mean? I'll take a picture or 2, but I don't need every moment of the day cataloged. I feel like you said, there's a pressure to do it, you know?
I think the reality for me is I overthink it too. I'll take the pictures because I want to savor the moment and I want to remember it later. I probably overtake pictures if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid anybody ever see the contents of my phone. But I think for me, it's like when I go to post it, I'm a writer. Like my brain has to edit 1,000 times before I actually post it. So I feel like that's where I get hung up more than anything.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
I feel you on that.
No, we are. I feel like we are overthinkers. I feel like a lot of young people today.
We're just gunslinging it.
I think what social media
throwing
has done,
it out there
these
without
kids
any
are just
thought of
gunslingers.
repercussion
Now, look,
or consequence.
It gets them in a lot of trouble too sometimes because they don't think and they just fling it right out there, baby. That's
literally what I just said.
I know. No, that is what you just said. But
Man,
you're not one of those young people, dude. You're
What?
What do you mean?
Sure I
Yeah,
am.
us as kids. What do you mean? You're not a kid.
Us kids over here.
He loves the fact that he's got a decade on Matt, and he loves it.
Well,
He's
I mean,
treasuring
well,
it.
Andy, you're Tyler's age, who's my youngest brother. So we also have that roughly the same age difference, I think.
Oh.
That's right. Well, I'm 47, so Andy's 36.
5.
Well, almost 36, 35.
So, and I'm only a year younger than you, Joe. So
Which is crazy because you look about 10 years younger than me. I hate you.
I don't. It's just the
I hate you. Can't wait for the reboot.
literally just.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. No, you haven't changed. You really haven't changed.
I know.
You became
Actually,
like,
I'm getting more and more excited for this reboot if
Well-
it does happen because seriously, like, yeah, you guys are gonna.
we can
have
still
a-
pull it off.
yeah, you
it
guys are
isn't
gonna
like
have
you
a
look at the
blast.
cast. It doesn't like you look at the cast and they go,
No.
"Oh,
No,
Oh,
no,
my God.
everybody.
oh no, what
Yeah,
happened
Look
to
at
these
that.
people?
Look at that.
Come on,
Oh, come on. This show needs to come back.
Wow.
This
Bring
show
it
needs to
back.
come back.
bring it back." It would be
Yeah,
you know
really.
what
The
I-
only thing is, I have a few more tattoos for them to cover. Other than that, like it's I feel like I'm
No
pretty
big deal.
similar to
Walk us through these tats. What are these things? You keep raising your arms here, and I'm seeing.
Oh,
I'm seeing.
God, they're not
They're
everywhere.
everywhere?
There's
They're
a few.
everywhere?
This one I just got, so I'm like trying not to cover it because I'm
What
trying
is
to
that
give it
one?
some time to like
Yeah,
heal.
heal up. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it?
Um,
What is it? What is that one on the arm there?
Well, it's kind of two different ones. So it's a Victor Hugo quote in French, and then I took some creative license and added a word at the end.
Okay.
And then this is a dandelion with little like wishing.
Cool.
That's kind of cool.
I love, by the way, dandelions are my favorite plant flower. They're so underestimated and persecuted. I stand up for the dandelions.
You know what? I will second that notion. Yeah.
Wow.
My kids, I walked to school with my youngest daughter because her elementary school is really close. And the other day she found a dandelion and she was like, I cannot believe there is one lone dandelion left
Yeah.
Yep.
after the weather has turned cold and it's mine. And she, of course, like picked it, but that's what they do. They wish on the dandelions all the way to
Totally.
school. And so that's kind of my way of remembering that their wishes are important.
You know
Very
what? That's
cool.
awesome. I used to love doing that. When
That's
you
very
blow it,
cool.
you blow the and it blow, it's
It's
so
a wish,
cool.
yeah.
That anyway. But I feel like honestly, like regardless of what the show actually is or what version of the show comes back or whatever we do with that, it would just be so wildly cool to walk in to a set and see you there and see Michael Stoyanov there and see Mayim there and see Ted there.
crazy.
Like it would just be
Yeah.
so the reason why I honestly, for no other reason than like, because creatively, whatever, all that stuff, I don't really care about any of that stuff. But it would just be for nostalgia, like for my heart, it'd be so neat. 30 years, it'd
Yeah.
be like a reunion of like when you go back to your high school or something, or you see all your elementary friends again, or to recreate that moment as full-fledged adults now would just be really. I think it would be kind of badass, you know.
But also, to be fair, when you go back for a high school reunion, there's like a lot of people that you don't remember well, or you
Right.
might not have had chemistry
true.
with, or it might be super awkward. And for me, I think people deserve to see the chemistry that none of us lost.
I've not
I mean,
lost it.
you get us all in a room together, and it's crazy.
It
it's-
is.
Right.
It's
is.
like the synapses are firing. It's
Yep.
amazing. It really
We-
is.
We had
So-
a sneak peek of that. We did one little scene in an episode of Mayim's last show, Call Me Kat. You remember that?
Mhm.
And we were all back together.
Yes,
for the
Joey, I
first-
remember it. It was like
Yeah.
a year and a half ago.
Yeah, a year and a half ago. Remember
I'm not
that back
old.
then? Remember that back then? In 2022? No, but
I mean, so much has changed.
it's so much has changed since then. I mean, literally. Actually, a lot has changed since then. But no,
Not
but
to interrupt, but you know that they're phasing out high school reunions because of social media.
Well, yeah.
yeah,
Everybody stays in touch. You
Yeah.
don't need if we're gonna have a reunion.
yeah.
Anyway,
We
sorry.
know how bad you look. We know what happened to Ted. Oh my God, I've seen it. Did you see his IG? Ted's looked like this for years.
But let's clarify, not Ted Was.
No, not our
Ted
Ted.
Wass looks
Oh,
great,
no,
dude.
actually,
He
it's
looks
really
fantastic.
eerie. Ted Wass. First of all, Don Rio, who created the show, hasn't changed ever. He looks this.
Really?
He
He
just
just exactly the same. That's
he
so
looked-
weird.
Wow.
yes, he was younger than we are now when we were on the show.
Mm.
Obviously, right?
Is it like a
Mhm.
Steve Martin thing though? Has he just been gray for 30 years?
No, he just looked. He looked really good for like his early 40s, and he's just always looked like he's been in his 40s.
Hmm.
It's really weird.
Really weird.
Yeah. Like it's crazy.
Mm.
He hasn't lost a step. He's sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And that's to your point. I think we all still have it. Like, and we experienced that in that one or two scenes we did on Call Me Kat. And it was just like, we got to do this. And
Yeah.
even mine was like, guys, this is happening because we have to do this, you know? And it felt like that. I think we all got excited. I was talking to Michael about a week ago, and he was like, dude, we got to do this. I was talking to David Lasher literally 3 days ago, and he said, bro, this has got to happen, you know?
Yeah.
I just feel like, if we were lucky enough to have that opportunity, we could actually do something that I think could be really enjoyable to watch.
Get the old band back together.
The old band, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's such an energy with all of us together.
Yep.
And I think if the networks could see that, they would be just all over it, you know?
The networks need that.
Are you thinking 4 or 1 camera?
Single camera, I think. You know, I don't know what version they're talking about, but
I
I've
want
heard
4.
I know.
I know Mayim has
Multi-camera.
said that it's the version of it is different than what,
Right.
you know, you can't recreate a 15-year-old girl with a single father, and you know what, we can't go back to that. We can't be 15 again, as much as some of us might want to.
Yeah, it'd be fun to check it out. I'd like to go check it out. Just check out my 15-year-old self. That'd be kind of fun. But no, you're right. You're right.
We've got to take it to the next level. And it was so, and I know this word is so overused, but it was so groundbreaking for that time to kind of recreate it in a new and improved groundbreaking way. Kind of has to have its own nuances.
Correct. We were doing things on that show, to your point, that they were not doing. Like we were putting in fourth walls. We were shooting through windows and doing things that were very experimental.
A lot of that was Bill Bixby.
It was Bill Bixby.
He brought in some really innovative camera
great.
angles.
Yep. And future directors, like when Ted Wasp became our director, directed most of our episodes that final season or whatever, he used a lot of that stuff and then even perfected it to what Bill did. But remember Bill, we had Bill Bixby, the amazing late Bill Bixby. He was an incredible guy.
Yeah.
Played the Incredible Hulk on television, right?
Yep.
And and he came on our show and was just this incredible light. He brought such gravitas, right, to a half-hour multi-camera with young people. You had Bill Bixby like it. He said, guys, you're such a talented young group of people. He said, I'm going to shoot the crap out of this thing. And he really did. Yeah. But he didn't ruin it. You know, like he perfected it. He didn't, but he let us be ourselves. He didn't try to recreate what we were doing. He just, that's what was so cool. And then, it was just you remember that year? It was such a wild time because then he got sick, and Bill, he got cancer, and Don and Bill were really good friends. Mm-hmm. And obviously everyone, was like, listen, Bill, you got to take some time, do what you need to do. And he said, no, I don't want to take time. He said, I don't know what time I have left, but I enjoy being with you guys so much. I want to be here, and I want to.
And he was until the very last minute.
Like literally like it was days, like a few. He would direct. There were times where he would direct. You remember this? Because as he got very ill toward the end there, like
he couldn't get out of his director's chair.
Bright light would affect him, and he would have to lay down. So I remember him directing, because on a half-hour comedy set, when we would pre-shoot, and sometimes you'd have to pre-shoot before the audience would come in. Certain sets they would darken the lights. So if we were shooting, say in Mayim's bedroom,
the sets weren't on. Yeah, they turn off the lights.
Right.
Yeah,
and he would go into our family room. I remember if we were in my room or they were, with Six, they would go over, and he would be laying on the couch in the living room with his headphones because he could hear, and he would just listen to our performances. You remember that at the very end? That's all he could do.
Yeah,
and he would still give us notes because when he started the show, he was this exuberant,
of course. No, I know,
like boisterous young guy, and he would come in there. And
he was a ball of fire. Like
God, yes, perfect. Like this was him. And
you know what's wild? I
really impactful,
and I don't know how this happened, where I was going or whatnot, but somewhere in that time, it might even been between the time he left set because he was flying home.
Right.
I was on the flight with him. In fact, I was sitting next to him.
No.
He was so sick, but yet still was so courteous and nice to me. Talked to me the whole flight. We were flying back, and I think he was flying home.
Like to just, wow.
Isn't that crazy, though, that I had a 5-hour from LA to the East Coast flight next to him.
Wow.
In that time. So wild, isn't it?
Yeah, he was an incredible guy.
I haven't thought about this, but I'm seeing these pictures. I was seeing he walks on. I remember recognizing him, but going, oh boy,
Wow.
I almost didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
sat right next to me, and we chatted the whole flight. And I remember thinking, the fact that this guy is still choosing to be optimistic.
Oh, he
and,
was.
and see the good things in life, even in the stage he was in. I mean, I didn't even know he was flying, honestly, and it was amazing. He was a really cool guy, really
Yeah.
was.
Oh yeah.
And to Don's credit, I love that they gave him the grace to sort of live out the rest of his life where he wanted to be, which was
Yes.
on
Of course.
set doing what he
Yes.
loved.
Totally,
You know, because
100%.
when you
Yeah, you're
think
right.
about it and I can only imagine like the liability and all of the things
Oh,
that
yeah.
people
Of
were
course.
probably taking into consideration, and
Oh yeah.
they just gave him the grace to live it the way he wanted to live it. And I have so much appreciation for that in retrospect.
I 100% agree with that. We had a very, which is why it would be so fun to go back and revisit it, after all these years, because it was a really special place. I mean, look, it was really, it really was a very special place. We were so lucky. I mean, if you think about the young people that dominated that set, right? Because it was a young show, and yet there really wasn't, I mean, no one got in trouble. Like there was we were all really good young people. So none of us were like rolling into the set.
There weren't any bad seeds.
We
Yeah.
weren't wasted. We weren't out
Right.
we were all professionals. We all treated those jobs. We all knew what those jobs meant. We were grateful for those jobs.
Absolutely.
It was really rare.
We all
'Cause
had
that's-
really strong work ethic. And I know
did.
Mayim, we've talked about this before where, it was Mayim's kind of, she had done a couple of things before that. But I mean,
Right.
Joe, you and I had both been working for so many years, and
Yes.
our work ethic was instilled from, when we
Yes.
were yay high.
Yes,
I'm still
exactly.
yay high, so I realize that.
Yeah. I'm not much
Um,
taller.
Yeah,
But-
I'm just barely above you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm fun sized.
One side. I like
but
that.
I love that Mayim is like, that we all sort of grew together, learned together, but that work ethic was just first. That
It
came
was.
first.
It was.
And I've been to a lot of sets since, and I can tell you that that's rare.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you
It
guys
is-
stood out. I even remember at a young age, it was such a well-oiled machine from top to
Mhm.
bottom. It was really impressive. It
Oh,
was an
yeah.
impressive set.
I don't think we were never treated like young people. We were treated with respect. We were treated with responsibility,
Yep.
and we understood that responsibility.
Heck
I
yeah.
mean,
did
it was.
too. I remember.
Yeah, remember, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it was
Absolutely.
It was anyway. It would be really neat. It'd be really neat. So I hope we do get an opportunity to do that. Don't you?
I
Wouldn't
hope
that be
so, too.
fun? Come
I
on,
hope so too.
let's do it.
I'm
Boston
I'm
Reboot.
in. I know that.
I'm in too. Look, like I said, I mean, we've all had these talks. Don's talked to us, and obviously we've talked to Mayim and talked to Ted and Michael. We're all in. So it's just a matter of
For me,
You know-
I'm trying to think as an
And
audience
I'm in
member.
too, just so you know.
As an audience
Okay,
member.
good.
Day
That's
of-
good.
Day
So
of
then now
Reckoning,
we can
the
move
return.
forward, then I think, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Andy will
He
make that
just
happen.
said Day of Reckoning. His
The
episode,
return.
The return.
94.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Didn't we all? Everyone said. Didn't we all at one point say your infamous catchphrase? which
Yeah.
is behind you. On
You
that
did.
one?
You
Right.
did. Look, we got my woe hats behind us here in the studio. You remember the woe hats that I would give out every season? I would give because once
You
again,
still
the
have
show-
yours, Jenna? I'm sure.
You better
all
have
of them?
yours.
Yep, sure do. Yep.
Wow. I thought I knew you. One's going in the mail. Okay. And what I want is I want a picture, and I want you to
So
post
help
it.
me God, if I open up my mailbox next week and there's a woe hat, I will die. It will.
Oh, I don't want you to pass away because we have a reboot, but there will be a hat. I promise.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
No, but and people often ask me, like, did you know? Like, when did you know that this woe thing
Well, you get
became
the hat.
this
I'm
woe
sorry. You
thing?
get the hat, and it says "Woe 23." You've been making them this whole time.
You never stopped.
Every year, baby. Oh my gosh.
I see 93 back there.
Yeah,
I mean, for the
Whoa.
last 15 years, it was just friends and
Joey's
family,
been
but
giving
now
the
it's going
same
to be the whole
Christmas
crew
gift
again.
for 20, 30 years.
Well, for 30 years. No, but I didn't know. It was again, it was
I just see Joe doing an infomercial like Jordan walking through the evolution of his shoe, but you walking through the evolution of the woe hat.
you guys are real jerks.
2012, we went more sporty. A little more lightweight, flex fit.
You guys are the worst. No. Stop
Look
laughing.
at this. 2018 dry fit technology came in.
You guys are the worst.
No sweat on this one.
You're the worst.
This
No.
one's even antimicrobial.
Oh God. Yeah, this one. Oh, I really
Look,
don't like
LED
you guys.
lights.
I don't like you guys.
Built-in utility light, 2019. This one's a keeper.
This one's Wi-Fi. It's got Bluetooth. Bluetooth whoa hats.
Oh my god.
No, but
Oh, in 2020, this was the pandemic.
yep.
It's got a built-in mask, though.
No, those mask attachments. You could just. It's got little built-in little
Oh
like
my
hooks
gosh.
for the mask.
This is so good.
No, it's disgusting. But
This is so good.
but yeah. But people often ask me, they're like, "Did you know?" And again, because there was no social media, it was a late drag. I didn't know
Right.
that what I was saying on the shows. It happened like months later, where I would go out and all of a sudden people were like, "Hey, whoa!" I'd be like, "What? People are saying it?" And then like it's weird, and then it became massive to where you said it on the show. I remember you saying it on the show. Everybody said it
I
on
mean,
the
I
show.
think we've all said it at least once.
Yeah. Do you
You
still
know,
know how?
it's like a rite of
We've all
passage.
said it.
Yeah. Do you still know how to do it?
Do we need to have a whoa off?
Sure. Why not? Do it. Let's see.
But you have to do the hand too.
Yeah.
You guys know that, right? Like he does the hand motion with it. Whoa.
Hey,
Good.
that's great. You're
Pretty
absolutely right.
good.
Because I would be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Very
exactly
nice.
right. Dad, I mean,
Very nice.
whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my
Whoa.
favorite.
Whoa.
That's
I
good.
can't really do it.
No, that's good.
Because yours goes
Whoa.
down at the end.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Not bad. I can't do it.
I remember like the coolest thing for me ever was I always used to watch Saturday Night Live, right? And I knew that it had hit big time when Mike Myers came out and played me on Saturday Night Live and was doing it
And
did it
That's-
like consecutive weeks.
I love that, though. Whenever he couldn't say anything else but whoa.
Yeah,
We're
it's
like,
his only
Yeah.
how you
word.
doing
Yeah.
tonight, Joey? Whoa.
People have asked me before when I knew that the show had really hit sort of the pinnacle of prime time, and I was like, that's what it was. It was Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Um,
That's right. That's
yeah.
right.
When
Because they would.
when they parodied us. That was when I knew that we had made it to a certain level that.
Yep.
For
That is
sure.
so cool.
For
Yep.
sure. That show was the barometer. Like if you got
Also, in the,
parodied or made fun of on
Wait,
SNL.
in the
you
era,
were-
in an
you were-
era of when SNL was still rocking.
SNL was
I mean, that was
massive. Yeah,
rocking.
massive.
Yeah, it
Massive.
was. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Will
had.
Ferrell, Mike Myers, Chris Kattan, all those. I mean, it was like it was
They had all the greats on
unstoppable.
there. No, that
was
was.
in Will Ferrell.
Will,
too.
Oh,
I
dude,
said,
it was-
I said
oh,
Will
yeah.
Ferrell. That was
That's right.
yeah.
They would always
But Will
do the
Ferrell was
dancing.
on it as well.
They would do
Oh.
those
Oh,
dancing
yeah.
skits with you and Mayim on SNL.
Yeah.
They had
I
6
remember
episodes.
that.
Oh,
I
no,
remember.
no.
I remember.
That's right.
That was great.
Oh my
That
gosh.
was so great.
That's right. That's
Wow.
right. Yeah. And
Wow.
to your point, Mike Myers, his whole thing with my character was that I didn't have any other language.
No,
No
it
other
was just the-
vocabulary
one-
except
Right.
one word.
Right.
Whoa.
So I remember that Phil Hartman, the late great Phil Hartman.
another great
Man.
cast
Oh
member.
my gosh.
Woo.
He had this show called The Sassy Show.
Yeah, I
So
remember.
right?
damn sassy.
Right. And he would always flirt with whatever like hot guys
Oh,
or
yeah,
these hot young guys were on the show. So, and they would make fun of it. It was young Johnny Depp or Richard Grieco or any
Yeah,
one of these
yeah.
guys, Mark Paul Gosselaar, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And when I was on the show, but Mike Myers played me, he would be asking these very poignant questions. And, he'd go, I remember he had Keanu on. It wasn't Keanu, but he had Keanu on. He'd be like, how do you feel about world peace, Keanu? Like that. And he'd be like, well, world peace is great. We got to have it. It's super important. World peace. And he'd be like, wow, what an answer. Sassy. And he'd say, Joey Lawrence, how do you feel about world peace? And he'd go, well, I mean, whoa. Because everybody's just like, whoa.
And everybody starts applauding.
Yeah.
We love that Joey Lawrence.
Yeah.
Right. And he
So
would-
damn sassy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
was-
my gosh.
that shit was so good.
So cool.
It was so funny. And you're right. Watching them, pay homage to you guys and make fun of you guys and our show and my character, like that's when you knew. When we were sitting
So
there
cool.
watching that
Really is
live,
so
going
cool.
like, oh my God, our show's
Yeah, that's
huge.
super
That is
cool.
Like
so
we
rad.
made it. And there was something really neat about not knowing until those kind of benchmarks were met. And you could sit there and go, oh my gosh, this is something,
Yeah.
I mean, you remember when we would travel, like, we would show up as a cast, or I'm sure you had autograph signings, I did too and stuff. And man, I mean,
Yeah, it was
wow. Thousands of
Well,
people.
that was just an era where
People, like you get collectively, how many people would watch that show?
25,
25, 28
I mean,
million.
that's a lot. That's like Super Bowl numbers.
It
now,
is.
you
I
know what mean?
remember I went to a
Every week.
concert and I'm trying to think. It was probably, I think it was like MC Hammer and Boys to Men, of course. The
Nice.
Boyz II Men
Yes.
comes back up again. And I remember that I was sitting in like a box, and I think I was in like Peoria, Illinois for a signing. And so people knew that I was there. And the people in front of me turned around and saw that it was me, and they started climbing over the box, and they ended up, I never got to see the concert. They had to take me out of there. I was wow, when did this happen? Like, who am I?
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that wild?
Isn't that crazy?
It's so surreal.
It's
such a surreal thing to have happen to you, especially as a young person. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, I remember. I mean, well, first of all, MC Hammer, dude, who didn't? I mean, that's it.
Oh,
Too
my
legit. Too legit
Those
to
pants,
quit.
those parachute pants.
The reality is that I'm actually wearing some Hammer pants.
I love it.
No way.
You can't see right now, but I truly am. I'm like, I'm going to stand for a second. So
Do it.
I'm actually
Do it.
I'm
Hey.
actually wearing Hammer pants right now.
You know what? If we're gonna do it, I'm not wearing Hammer pants. In fact, I'm not wearing pants at all. So I'm just
No, he's kidding. He's kidding.
You know, I remember doing those autograph signings, and there was one that I did. They would go literally insane. I remember they collapsed the stage that I was on, and the event staff. Remember the security team, like when they wear those yellow shirts, event staff, they would be like security at these events. They created a human tunnel. Yeah, they created a human tunnel.
Can't you just say security, guys?
follow the yellow brick road.
But they were called
Follow
event
the yellow brick
staff.
road.
It was like the company that would do it.
I know, Joe. I
Anyway.
think everybody has seen it.
I think those are just the staff people of the event that was happening.
but that was a company. They wore the yellow shirts.
I'm not sure there was an actual
Listen,
company
Eddie,
called Event
don't
Staff.
correct me on air.
I think
Don't ever correct me on air.
I think those were just the T-shirts that they made.
Look at
you
them.
know, Joe.
Look at
for
these
the
guys.
event.
They're loving
No,
their
there was a
lives.
real company, and it was crazy because they did all of them.
It's like
Wait,
it's like McDonald's burgers. They're real beef. No, Joe, the company's called Real Beef.
Yeah.
Not
You
the
guys-
burgers.
You guys done?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You guys done? All right. You can start your own pod. Anyway, no. So
Rude.
and they
so rude
so they
sometimes.
collapsed the stage.
Bro pop.
I was in the middle of like 18, 20,000 people, and they had to create a tunnel. And
Two bros, one pod.
I had to crawl. Must have been. These guys never showed up.
We've had enough of Joe talking about how famous he was.
I was not talking about how famous I am.
About your
you
human tunnel of the company Event Staff.
So this company, event staff,
They
they
do-
saved my life.
Man,
That's
they
fine.
do all the events.
No worries, you know
too.
what? You
All
know
the
what?
big events.
I won't tell the story.
First of all,
No,
go ahead, tell us.
Go
I
ahead.
do
We gotta
remember
wrap
this
this
is
up, so go
totally
ahead.
a legit story.
This
For
is a
the
legit story.
record, for the record, this is what it's like when Mike and Mayim and I are in a room with him too. So
Oh, really?
Oh, he just talks about his event
Yeah.
staff.
They
day.
bust
Do you
up
guys
on me.
remember when 20,000 people collapsed the stage?
you
And I'd
guys
be
are the
escorted
worst.
out on choppers?
What are you? Choppers? Multiple choppers. I needed more than one.
But it was a motorcycle.
My hair
gang.
and my flannel went in one.
It was a motorcycle gang. It wasn't an actual chopper. The Hell's Angels were big fans of the show, and they helped
They just roll up and
evacuate
I was like,
Joe.
I said a chopper, not a chopper. I'm not gonna be able to get through these people. In this.
Hop on, Joey. Yeah. Best thing is you're on the
You
back.
idiot. You idiot.
You're not even driving
Just
it.
gripping some
Yeah.
guy.
Some big guy you can barely fit your arms around.
Yeah.
The big chopper guy.
You guys are the-
that's good. All right, wait, so finish your story though. Okay,
No,
so
it's not even.
no,
worth it.
yeah, they collapsed the stage.
No, I just
You
reminded
made
me
a
what you said when they
human
were
tunnel.
climbing up into your box.
You were
to get
crawling-
To you. They collapsed the stage and they created a tunnel, and I had to climb, literally crawl through it for
This is
like
true. I
for
remember.
like I don't know how many yards, but it was
Mom
probably
was
about 100
freaking out.
yards. And
She was
I just remember
screaming.
these hands were coming in, and I had long hair at the time, right? And they were literally
you were like
pulling-
the Taylor Swift of the 90s.
I guess so, something like that.
and
they
that's
were-
what happened. You came out the other side of the tunnel. You had a short haircut.
I had no hair left. No, but I mean, they were pulling my hair out. I've never forget. It was the most scary thing ever in my
That's
whole life.
why. That's why I
Exactly.
complain about not having hair to this day.
Exactly.
I
They
hate them.
stole all my hair.
And
I
I want
really
it
have-
back.
You know, I bring my dear friend on, and you embarrass me. You embarrass me. You ignoramuses.
No way.
Yes.
Well, guys, that's about an hour of our brotherly love pod here, guys.
You're the worst.
Yep, let's end it on that
No,
note.
you're not ending anything. You jerk. You jerk.
All
No,
right.
we're not going out on that note, you putz.
All
No.
right. Well,
no way.
I guess
no
we can
way.
spend a few more minutes.
No way. We can spend a few. We'll
Did you
spend a
just
few
call
minutes.
him a putz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I
you
love
sound
that
like
word.
90. That's wonderful.
I know. You putz. You know who inspires me all the time? Watching reruns of King of Queens with Jerry Stiller. Oh my God!
Unbelievable.
So that guy. If anyone out there has not seen Jerry Stiller, Google him, YouTube him. He is Ben Stiller's dad. Okay, and Ben
Yeah.
Stiller's great too and so funny. But Jerry Stiller
he's
is
awesome.
Wonderful actor.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So good.
Oh,
Could hit
my
you with that like
gosh.
grumpy guy, but then could hit you right in the heart
Yes,
too.
yes.
Yeah, he was good. He
Oh,
was.
my
This
This
God.
wasn't
good.
Jerry Siller, but it reminds me of that. Remember that old Toyota commercial where the car's parked? It says "Look so fast," and the old man goes, "Slow down!
Yes.
This is a neighborhood."
Oh, that was so
The
great.
car's
That was
not-
a great commercial.
Wasn't it?
I don't even
I love
remember
that
this
commercial.
Brilliant commercial. It was the Toyota Celica, which,
Yeah.
by the way, you had a Celica,
Which I
didn't
had.
you?
That
Oh,
was
boy.
my
You
first
had-
car.
Didn't you
Oh,
have a
boy.
white convertible Celica?
Wow.
I did.
VIN ZKL 58791. Joe,
I
you
didn't
know the
remember-
VIN number?
I don't
from
know
an-
her VIN number,
Oh,
you
yeah.
idiot. No,
Wow.
but I'm a big car guy. Okay,
Yeah,
so
No
we
way,
all,
really?
We all
I
came
was
of
like,
age,
I think we've established that.
we all came of age on Blossom, and we all got our licenses. We all got cars,
Yep.
and I remember Mayim got a Saab. Remember that? Mayim got a Saab.
Which suited her perfectly. I mean, like
Perfectly.
these cars suited our personalities to a
That's
T.
right. I got a 300ZX twin turbo, right? Nissan, which
Makes
was
sense.
dope. And Jenna got a white convertible Celica, and it was so cool.
Ah.
And I love that you had that car. I said, this is a dope car. It really was. It was a great car.
You got the stamp.
And
of
the fact that
approval.
you thought it was a great car made my year because I was like, oh my God, this
Joey
Joey
likes
actually thinks that something I did was cool.
Yep.
She pulled up, and I was like, Jenna, remember that? I was like, this is so badass. I love this car. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We'd have car conversations.
I
Joe
loved that
picked-
car too. I really
That was a
loved
great
that
car, Jenna. That was dude, especially like in 94, that car was dope. 94, 95, that was like an amazing, they were beautiful cars. They don't even really make the Celica anymore. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
They're finally bringing the 300ZX back, a brand new 300ZX, or it's called the 400 now, but the 400Z is coming out.
Joe picked my first car for
I
me.
did.
Little
I
did
did.
I know. I was so into it too, but now thinking back, it was literally like a cop magnet. Like you couldn't have gotten a louder.
What was it?
It was a
Seca blue?
Laguna Seca Blue, which is BMW's racing color. The whole thing was like turquoise, bright turquoise M3 with an exhaust system on it, with these super crazy high profile or low profile rims.
Right, so not ostentatious at all.
It
Good
was
job,
like
Joe.
the loudest, most obnoxious car, and I was learned how to drive in it, so I crashed it a bunch. And
I cannot believe I
Yep.
did that. It was not wise.
No.
He said, I want something really cool, really fun color.
She goes, I got it. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. Shows up this Laguna Seca Blue M3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my. It was
was
not
fun, though.
wise. Yeah, I was still a kid myself, so I was giving you
It was
advice,
fun.
and I was still immature. I would have suggested something much more mundane now for you to get your driving, wheels under you. But yeah, the M3 was not smart.
I remember one time I crashed it 3 times in the driveway.
You did.
Oh my
Into the
goodness.
garage, into a parked car, back into the garage, I just
That's
couldn't.
an art form.
I know.
right
Yeah.
there.
I know. It was Tiptronic, so it kept rolling. It was like a mess. It was not
Matt
something to learn
Matt
on.
crashed into me in
Oh!
my car with my car.
Matt drove his Jeep on
Did?
top of your Viper. Like literally
Oh,
on top,
crap.
and the roll
Good job,
bar
Matt.
stopped it.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Matt, and he's like, "What? What's going on? What is this? Why is my Jeep not moving?" And I remember it's sitting on top of Joe's Viper, and Joe and his friend, I think Dave or Steve, I don't know, they were looking at each other screaming because Joe's, a car nut. Joe's the kind of guy that you can't open the car from the outside. You have to open the car doors from the inside, so it
Mhm.
leaves
No
No finger
fingerprints.
smudges.
I just like to use the door handles. I don't like when people like.
Two
no,
fingers,
I know.
too.
I actually remember you getting out of your car and sometimes like taking something and like wiping off the side of the car before
Oh,
you
he
went
still
into the
does it.
stage.
No, still does. That.
So you can imagine Matt
Still
driving
does.
a Jeep on top of his
Oh,
Viper.
can I?
So I had
Yeah.
a Jeep Cherokee. Matt, Matt took it over. I gave it to Matt.
That was a
and-
common theme in our family. Joe would go through cars
Yeah,
kind
we
of
never-
like water. So we would just,
no one else ever needed to get any vehicles.
no, we could just
Family.
stand there,
Right, sure.
wait a couple weeks, and
And Joe
Pick up one of
Wow.
Joe's.
Pick up one of
Look at
Joe's.
you guys. What it would have been like to have a big brother like me. No, I don't know. I had to pay my own way. I had to get my own cars.
Yeah.
No, but I had a Dodge Viper and I loved it. And we were coming up out of Chin Chins. Remember Chin Chins? So
Mm.
we were the
one,
There was
Chin-
an underground parking structure
at the
When you
Chin
come
Chins in
up-
Encino,
yeah, when
California.
you come up out of the underground. It's a very steep,
It is
Uh,
really steep. You're right.
Remember
right?
that one? Yes.
steep
I
up,
remember
and then
it.
it, and
I
it
remember
just
it well.
drops you right back onto the road.
Yes.
So Joe had gone up the steep,
and
and
the
it
Viper's
stopped,
low. And the Viper's low.
and the Viper's really low profile. I mean, that thing is maybe 30 inches off
It's
the
very
ground,
low to the ground.
and had stopped on just the other side of the lip. And I came
Yeah.
up behind him in the Jeep, and literally the Jeep came up off that bump and just landed on the top of his car.
Yeah.
I did not see his car. I didn't even know I was on top of his car.
And I
because I'm
went-
still looking up.
And I literally
didn't know.
went, I'll never forget this. I literally went, and it's a convertible, right? It was an open roof. And I was like, what the?
The car's just sitting on top of the
Oh my
back
God.
of his car.
Oh my God. I turn to my best friend. I'm like, what the hell? And I look up and I see Matt. And if the window to the front windshield is
true.
here,
It's
and I
exactly
see this, he looks up, he goes like this. What?
I just still didn't know I was on top of his car. It was a raised Jeep, like way high, right? So I come up to the thing, boom, and I'm like, why is this car not getting over the hump?
Yes.
I had no clue.
That
It was
was-
stuck on the top
my
of his
one
car.
of one of the only times
clue.
Oh my God.
for some reason it turned into furniture being thrown. That was like
Yeah.
the one time that you guys actually went
We
back
actually
to
got into
Rancho.
it because I
and
was
they were
like, I
throwing
literally
furniture at each
didn't
other.
see you. How can I apologize? I didn't even see you.
Oh gosh.
Oh, God, it was
gosh.
good.
It was great.
That was
it was
good
great.
times.
Good stuff.
Well,
Anyway,
on that
all right.
note, are you
that
happy
it?
if we end on cars?
We can end
Joe?
on cars, but you got to come back.
Yeah,
See
you
how
have
quick
to
this
come
hour
back.
I would love
goes?
to come back.
All right,
and
great.
next time I'm joining in even more on making fun of you because I can't help myself. That's
I know.
Please. Can't help myself. I had a
You
song.
come sit
Can't
on
help
this
myself.
side of the table with
I'm
me.
so
We'll have a lot of
glad
fun
over
making fun of
I,
Joe.
that's it. The next time I come to LA, I'm coming and sitting in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so you heard it here.
Yep.
Jenna, when you're in LA, you're going to be in studio with us live. We got it? Deal?
Done.
We
Mason
will. And you
jar,
bring your hammer
you-
pants.
I'll have
and
this-
and that
And
purple
I'll bring
hat
the hammer pants.
and the
that
purple hat.
We'll wear wool hats and you'll have your purple hat.
Yeah.
We'll do twirls.
All right.
Great, guys.
I love that so much. Yeah, I'm in.
Jenna, I love you.
yeah,
You're
thank
the-
you for
you're the
being here.
best.
Thank you so much,
so
Love
much
you.
for
Thank you
joining
for
us
having
today.
me.
Truly, I can't wait to see you here. Okay, but more than that, I hope for the best for the future of our beloved show for next year, going into 24. Maybe something really, really special happen, and we'll all be able to create again. That'd be really something neat. You know?
Amen to that.
Yep. All right.
I am
So-
too.
God bless. Have a beautiful rest of your year. We'll talk, obviously, but just
and everybody else out there, have a beautiful rest of your weekend.
Yes. And
Thanks
we'll
for
see you
joining
next
us.
week.
Yeah, tune in next
Brotherly
week.
Love Pod.
Brotherly
Every
Love
Friday,
Pod.
baby. Brotherly Love Pod right here on the pod.
Pod to pod.
Pod to pod.
Jenna,
Jenna,
love
thank you.
Bye, Jenna. See you later, everybody. Bye, guys.
Hey, guys, the Lawrence brothers here.
We just want to thank you for watching this week's episode of the Brotherly Love Pod.
Go to our link tree and subscribe on all platforms.
And make sure you join us
Next week.